Oh, okay. But I ain't tripping about these bullies, it ain't 6th grade. Go ahead and diss me, trying to sell a couple mixtapes. I'm not afraid, take my face and my name, paste it on the front page. I'm already famous and you'll never change it by hating or claiming you'll take it away. My grind wicked, write my rhymes different. You could try to quantify defying limits as a dying gimmick and denying winning. This is pure fire, this ain't white privilege. I do what I want, get all the Gucci and Louis Vuitton out of my closet, out of my crib. I do not want it, that is for kids, that is for rappers who ask you to produce their beats for free, pretending online like they rich. I am not playing it safe, I said what I said, it is what it is.
I don't care if you mad at me, okay? Go ahead and change the channel. Don't waste your time trying to cancel me, okay? They love me cause they know that I'm it. Say what you want, I guess it is what it is. Haters can talk, but they can't cancel the kid. Go ahead and go off, try and say this is it. But I swear to God, you can't cancel the kid.
Everybody knows my name from local folks to global.
All right, guys, here we are. Brutally honest with Nathan and Brian. And one of the things that, this is kind of a test run. So, it's not going to be perfect. I just want to let you know that. But we want to start it off by talking a little bit about masks. I know that Brian's been on Facebook and different forums talking with people about masks, as well as me having my opinions and what I do in public. I actually have a little story to say what happened to me at the local Dollar General here in a minute. But I'm going to turn over to you, Brian. I mean, what do you think? What's going on with masks? You got the CDC saying it's about 2 masks. We need to be wearing 2 masks now. I mean, what's going on?
The CDC hasn't been able to make up their mind for an entire year about what's going on. What are they trying to pull over on us now? I mean, that's just it. We've all said, we all heard in the beginning, wear a mask, to help flatten the curve. Well,
yeah, we're on day. Hey, by the way, we're on.
How many days has it been now?
Yeah, that's right. We're on day, I don't know, 320, 330-ish.
300, something, yeah.
I have 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and
right.
Where's that fucking curve? You know what I'm saying?
Right. And we hear over and over again, well, it's because everybody's not wearing a mask. Well, I can tell you this right now.
Where's the flu?
Yeah. Up until I finally decided I'm done with this mask crap, I'm not wearing them anymore. I wore them. My wife wore them. We all wore them. All kinds of people were wearing them. I was going out places and seeing tons of them, and they were saying, well, it's because of all the people that aren't wearing masks. There's not a lot of people not wearing masks.
And I respect that about you and your wife and everybody. I never have really worn one, I just haven't.
And I mean, it didn't do any good. My wife got it. I'm assuming I had it. I'm assuming my kids had it because, my wife was diagnosed with, SARS-CoV-2. But in the end, the doctor said, well, this was back in March. It was like, well, you don't have COVID-19, but you have severe acute respiratory syndrome. And since then, it's been, oh, wait a minute. Everybody that's diagnosed with COVID-19 has been diagnosed with SARS-CoV-2. So they told her she didn't have it, when I'm guessing she did have it because it's on her medical record. But I had no symptoms, not a sniffle, nothing. Kids, both kids, no sniffles, no symptoms. My wife, really sick for 3 days. It was like the flu, got over it, no problem. Has a bunch of medical history, very low immune system, and she survived it back when it wasn't COVID-19, but it was COVID-19. So they haven't had a clue what they've been doing all along. We were wearing masks religiously back then, thinking that she was going to be in severe trouble with it if she got it, and she survived it just fine. But then it never turned into, well, if you've had COVID-19, you no longer need to wear a mask because, your body now has antibodies, so you can't spread it, you can't get it, anything like that. It was like, well, everybody still has to wear a mask, even if they have COVID and get over it. So it's either you die from it and then you finally get to quit wearing a mask.
Well, so hold on. So something that's kind of cool, and I looked it up, and it says common question. If you Google, right? I Googled, and you can see, Do masks prevent the spread of COVID? And it says, COVID alert, common question. Are masks recommended to prevent the spread of COVID 19? And I want you to look at the answer. It's kind of interesting. It says, the CDC recommends wearing cloth face coverings in public settings where other social distancing measures are difficult to maintain, such as grocery stores and pharmacies. So, does that say that it works? What's the wording? You see what I mean? And that's the whole thing. And a lot of people, I think, on my whole point of view, I think a whole lot of people think that masks don't work. They do it for reasons because they don't want to offend. They want to please. They're being told to do so. And that's the problem I have kind of with masks. I mean, there's some places you go to, if you don't go in, whatever, you can get kicked out. Like, for instance, I'm literally 2 hours ago, I go to the local Dollar General. Went to the local. This really happened. This really happened, man. I went to the local Dollar General, and I went in. They were busy. Didn't have a mask on. Hardly ever wear a mask. I go in. I wait in line. The manager goes. They open up another line. I get up to the front, still not wearing a mask. Obviously, a guy walks in the store, not wearing a mask, and the manager's like, "Hey, you got to be in here. To be in here, you got to be wearing a mask." And I'm like, buying my shit, not wearing a mask. And he goes out, comes back in with a mask. The whole time, I'm buying my shit, not wearing a mask, and I leave. Like, it's just a little ridiculous. And I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it. If people want to wear one, cool, man. But what you've read it, you've studied it. What does the science tell us about masks? What does the real science, not the CDC, not Fauci, not Biden, not Trump, not anybody, what does the science truly tell us about masks? Let us know. I mean, what do they say?
The particles, the size of the particles that are transmitted through a virus are so tiny, and they're talking about water droplet size particles are what we're using a mask for. Virus particles are freaking microscopic. Masks don't stop that. Masks don't prevent anything from that. The organisms travel in these water particles, but the thing is okay, masks are supposed to be protecting us, but yet there's plenty of scientific studies that have done by people that they say, aren't their scientists. So as long as you're listening to their scientists, masks are supposed to help stop the spread. But if you listen to any other scientists that have come along and actually done studies that show the masks do nothing to stop the spread of the virus, then it's plain and simple. They don't work. They're for one reason and one reason only.
So then, okay, right. Okay, so then if you take it a little farther, they're saying that after you're vaccinated, you need to be wearing a mask. I mean, so what's the science behind after you're vaccinated, do you need to be wearing a mask? And that's the other thing that's kind of interesting. And that's why I honestly think until all this stuff gets pushed back on a little bit, where they're like, hey, wait a minute here. Does this stuff, if I'm vaccinated or if I've already had it or whatever the reason may be, and I still have to wear a mask, like when do we start drawing that line? When should people start drawing the line to when they think things help? Versus maybe it is kind of a form of control. Maybe it is kind of to tell us what to do or, I don't know. It's obviously, it's very interesting to say the least. I mean, it really is.
Free thinking people are drawing the line. They're starting to draw the line right now.
No, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I will not wear one. I don't wear one. I don't put one on my son, and if you say something to me about it, I am going to put you in your damn place. Period. So I'm going to let you know that.
People
you see
are
me in public. I'm not wearing a mask. You say something, be prepared.
People are paying attention to how many times they have flip-flopped on everything. People are paying attention that, once the vaccine comes along, then everybody's going to be safe. Now it's, well, even after you get the vaccine, you're still going to have to social distance and wear a mask. Well, then why the hell did I get the vaccine? It'd be
Exactly.
one thing.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if they would have come along and said, okay, if all you've gotten was the first dose of the vaccine, you need to still mask up and social distance until you get the second dose of the vaccine. But now they're coming along and saying, we're probably going to still be wearing masks and social distancing until at least November. Somebody really needs to start making sense of this to people, because there's a lot of them that are starting to figure it out.
It's not
It
that.
doesn't
It's
make any
not that.
sense anymore.
Well, it's not that the people. Somebody needs to start making sense to it. Is that, I mean, everybody. That's the thing. Your mainstream media, whether it's ABC, NBC, when you tune into the nightly news, they're obviously on board with it. There's celebrities that they love and listen to their music in their car are obviously on board with it. So they're always hearing that. Then you got losers like me and you
Yeah.
that actually read the data and we're like, hey, man, that's not the case. But yet I'm not cool. You know what I mean? I'm a bald, middle-aged dude. Like, I'm not a stud. So because of that reason, everybody's like, I'm the crazy one. But yet the dude telling you on TV to wear the mask that's gorgeous and sexy and hung like a rhinoceros, that guy, right, is lying to you. You need to open your eyes. You need to look at the science, and that's the case. And look, man, there's a fine line to be drawn with what you think is right. And then the whole other issue is when you work for an employer, and that employer is like, you got to wear a mask, and you don't, you're getting fired. And look, if you're in that situation, you wear a damn mask, you do whatever it takes. You're not, you're being an American. Your employer isn't being an American, but they're being forced to be that way. And that's the problem. We need more people that are free thinking, that are going to stick up for the fucking shit and say, hey, this is what's real. This is what's fucking propaganda. You know what I mean?
Yep. But the problem is you got too many people that they don't want to offend someone. They don't want to be attacked by someone. I think that's where most of it comes from. I mean, it's become pretty common in society today that if you go somewhere and you're not wearing a mask, you have probably about an 80% chance that someone out there is going to attack you for not having that mask on. They're going to shame you as much as possible in front of anyone possible.
No, maybe 80% chance they're thinking it in their mind. I don't go anywhere without a fucking mask, and nobody said shit to me.
Well, I think we're lucky that we're in West Virginia, because I can pretty much bet you, if we were in a bigger city with more of those libtards, we'd be getting shamed every single time we went out without a mask. We're fortunate enough to be in an area. I mean, even though I live in Ohio, right across the river from West Virginia, I do most of my shopping in West Virginia. That's where I'm from.
Yeah,
that's where all my stores are.
You're born and bred by God, West Virginian.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, gee, many Christmas. Look at that daggone thing. That's a West Virginia hat right there, buddy. But the thing is I walk in all kinds of stores, people with masks all around me. I don't have one on. I have had one person in one store that has said something to me, and guess where it was? It was in a liberal city. No other place that I've gone have they said, and I'm talking, I've been in big name stores with the signs right out front. You must wear a mask to come in.
Well, that's the other thing. So, I mean, that you brought up a good point when you said liberal city, right? So if you do a map, if you get on Google, right? I mean, we can get on Google right now. We're going to get on Google, right? Hold on. Let me pull this up. If we look at COVID cases by state, let's just check that out, right? Let's see what comes up. Obviously we're linking to where I'm living right now, but we're going to keep looking. Let's look at the CDC. We're going to go to CDC data. We'll pull it on up, and we're going to see. So if we're looking, county view, track, what do we got here? Cases. Oh, wow. If we look, it looks to be in California and in Arizona.
Two of the most liberal. the biggest liberal state on the planet,
Yeah, we got
California.
we have a lot in. That's kind of surprising. Miami-Dade County. You see that? Miami-Dade County, Florida's got a lot of cases. And up in Seattle, Mason County, Washington, Kitsap, Washington, that's got a lot of cases. You go someplace like right here in Wyoming, they don't have any cases, hardly. Georgia, it looks like Georgia's being hit. Oh, what about right here, Maryland? That's kind of the Baltimore area. I mean, you can truly see where the cases are, and the point is in liberal cities where they've had the strictest laws, have the highest cases of COVID. That's the very interesting thing with all of that data. What do you think about all that?
Oh, it's crap. It's the same. I mean, anytime you get into a big city like that, it's going to be the same thing over and over again. Those are the places that they're wearing masks like crazy. They are pushing masks like the great Gestapo that they are. I mean, they're on everybody for it. There's very few people that would feel safe not wearing a mask in those cities, and not getting attacked for it. But the thing is the one thing that all of those people in those cities aren't paying attention to is if that many people are wearing masks and it's spreading that bad in our cities, masks can't be working. Well, of course, it's not the masks. The masks have nothing to do with stopping the spread of the virus. Walk into a grocery store one time and stand in the frozen food section. Just stand around there and watch how many people grab the same exact handle to get ice cream over and over and over again. Nobody washes that handle. Nobody, people, as much as they want to say, I use that, that stuff on their hands. Antibacterial stuff or whatever, to make sure and clean my hands after I touch everything. No, they don't. I've been through, I don't know how many daggone grocery stores. I've never seen anybody, pull out a jug of stuff, spray it on their hands every time they touch something. They're this stuff is spreading by hands. It's spreading by, we're touching everything when we go in places, and then what's everybody doing? Fiddling with their mask because the thing's a pain in the butt. You either can't breathe, you got an itch, you're trying to adjust it. So the thing is the masks haven't done squat. It's a virus. Viruses are going to spread. You have to let the virus spread to let it finish its cycle. Until everybody ends up getting this, it's not going away. Period. It's a virus. The only hoax, it's not a hoax of a virus like a lot of people like try and jump on people for. The way it's portrayed as a virus is the hoax. It's a normal virus. It just spreads easier than most other viruses. You're going to get it. Everybody's going to get it. We can't stop it. Masks aren't doing squat. Masks are for one reason only. See how many people will follow them. See how many people listen. Turn us against each other.
And it has turned that way. I mean, it may not have, even if the initial goal was to help, it has turned that way, and that's the thing. And now you're getting people that even you get people pleasers, and you get different types of people that just look. I mean, you get even people that don't even put much thought into it. And are like, hey, if it helps, so what? I'm gonna wear one, and cool. That's cool. You do whatever. Just don't have a problem with somebody else with what they choose. And that represents the fundamental American freedom. Is it doesn't matter what you do. You want to wear a mask? I'm totally cool with you wearing a mask. Hey, in fact, I'm totally cool with you wearing 5 masks and gloves and a fucking plastic bag if that makes you feel safe. And I'm totally cool with it, okay? But if I don't want to wear one and I'm just out chilling, you better be cool with it. And it's just and it's the same way with the national anthem. It's the same way with flags. It's the same way with all of that bullshit. We are a country where if you want to fly the rebel flag, the Confederate flag, whatever you want to freaking call it, Okay, if you want to fly that, that's cool. It doesn't necessarily represent my views on things. You know, I respect you want to fly it. Cool, whatever. Don't look down on if I'm flying the American flag. And we went from the Confederate flag being some big evil thing to where now the national anthem and the American flag being a problem. Like, you know, you live in America and the American flag. Like, why do you think some people have a problem with it? I mean, why? Why do you think people have a problem with the American flag and the national anthem right now? I'm kind of curious what your opinion is on this.
The thing is, I think for some people, it's turned into it. It's popular to be that way. I mean, it doesn't make a lick of sense to me. We live in America. You know, there's no reason why anybody should be offended by our American flag. You know, it's if you don't like our American flag, go somewhere where you like their flag. This is our flag. But the thing is, you know, the hatred has been, you know, instilled. You know, we've got liberal colleges with liberal professors teaching liberal courses that are literally indoctrinating our kids into why they should hate our country. You know, it doesn't make any sense anymore. I mean, they're feeding this stuff into people, but it's weird. Even the people that are going along with everything that the Democrat Party is doing that is so un-American, it's ridiculous. They still believe they're being patriotic. They still are, you know, they're still saying their pledge to the flag. But the thing is they're going against everything that our flag stands for. So the hatred for our flag, it's only coming from certain areas. And most of those areas seem to come from, you know, these college kids that have taken some stupid freaking, you know, get in touch with your feelings course. And it's basically turned them into little freaking Nazis. And all they're doing is just, you know, we're just breeding more of them, sending them to these stupid colleges. You know, I mean, we've been watching Marxism get pushed in colleges for years.
Well, something I was reading about recently is climate change, and you know, there's only one view of it that they are being taught in schools, specifically with climate change. And there is a whole lot of science to climate change that it's not being shown or not being taught in schools. It's actually more of a political view that's being taught in schools versus the science, real science of it. And
you mean the Al Gore political views?
Hell, according to Al Gore, we wouldn't have any polar ice cap. Like he said, the polar ice caps would be gone by 2013. We're in 2021. And the ice caps are there. That's true. That's true.
Florida, California, and New York should have been underwater.
According to Al Gore, to Al Gore, well, his mansion also uses more power than probably my town, and his private jet, you know, obviously, you know, uses tons of energy as well. Just like John Kerry, by the way. You know, John Kerry flies around talking about climate change in his private jet, and I mean, it's just all bullshit to a certain extent, and
we know it is.
And but the thing is, though, is even when you talk about climate, I mean, going back to what we were talking about, what's being taught in schools, you are absolutely right. You know, we need to start teaching facts and science that's not politically motivated, and I don't know of any conservative view that's being taught in schools. I do know of tons of liberal views that's being taught in schools. And Common Core stuff is just kind of, I like the idea of Common Core. It doesn't fucking work because of political views. You know what I mean? And being from West Virginia, where our education consistently ranks at the bottom, which is a whole other conversation to have, you know, you're right. We're teaching it to people, you know?
Oh, yeah. It's all about indoctrination nowadays. I mean, that's just it. You know, we've got professors that are being put into positions in schools to teach this stuff. They want it fed to our kids. You know, they want our kids turning out like this. The more they hate America, the more control they can get over them. You know, none of it makes any sense anymore. I mean, it doesn't. Of course, the thing is we're also, I mean, China's got their hands in every government official's pockets for the most part. I mean, they have been buying out people over and over and over again. How in the world that ever happened still blows my mind, because I don't understand what in the heck we would have ever gotten in bid with China for, other than, the one dude that was screwing the Chinese spy or whatever. Of course, wait a minute, that's just, that's never been proven yet, I guess. I don't know. But no, this has been, we've been watching the destruction of this country for years. The more they destroy this country, the more we need a country that can come along, that can take care of us and cater to us and all that. And the Democrat Party are the main, they're the main ones that are, coddling these people. It's BS. I mean, we don't need them. We don't want them. We want to be as self-sufficient of an America as possible, but that's what we, the Americans, want. That's not what our government wants anymore.
No,
our government wants to get rich.
Yes, they do. And the other thing that makes me kind of mad about that, what makes me mad is they're doing it in the name of equality. And what I mean by that specifically is, Joe Biden picked members of his cabinet. He picked our vice president for what reasons? Because of their qualifications, what they've done, or because of their race and gender and sexuality, whatever it may be, which aren't real qualifications. No. And, we live in a country, right? And this is so interesting. And I have to say this, and I don't give a shit who it offends. It's absolute truth. Kamala Harris, all right? Kamala Harris, lawyer, decent education, whatever. Okay, cool. I'm proud of you. Kamala Harris's mother was from India. Okay, she's Indian, half Indian. Her father was from Jamaica. Her great-great-great-great-grandfather had more slaves in Jamaica than any one person in Jamaica in history. She is a direct descendant of not slave owners, but slave, not from being slave, but from being slave owners. I have no history as a white man of owning any slaves. She does. But if they want to pass reparations, I'd be paying them, right? Not her. That's what's crazy. If you're black or half Jamaican in America and come from a descendant that owns slaves, but you're white and don't have that history, you're racist. It's all bullshit, and it's not real. It's the liberal fairyland that we all want to live in to say, hey, you know what? I want an excuse to being a piece of shit. Hey, my excuse is I'm being held down for whatever reason that may be, and we're losing the whole accountability piece, and that's scary,
Nope, I'm not a white supremacist. I haven't had a family member that's ever been a white supremacist. Don't know the last time that there was ever a hanging anywhere in my neighborhood. I mean, that's just it. None of this stuff is real. They make this stuff up to pander to a certain demographic. It's all about getting them riled up. It's about getting them. It's about getting them to hate the other side.
And when people truly unite, that's when the stuff happens like what recently happened with GameStop and Wall Street and the hedge fund owners.
Oh, yeah.
That's what happens when people unite together. And that's what they don't want. And that's what should terrify people at the end of the day,
Yeah, and the worst people in the world to unite are people who believe in the Second Amendment. And boy, oh boy, are they pushing us in that direction. Because
they're showing us why the Second Amendment is so important.
You better believe it. Our forefathers knew there was going to come a time that Second Amendment was going to need to be used, and all they're doing is pushing us towards that time. They need to wake up, because the problem is there's not a single person out there that wants to go through what our forefathers did, where neighbors were killing neighbors. We don't want that. Nobody wants that.
No, nobody wants that. We want to protect our neighbors, and
absolutely,
that's the American way. And the other thing, the thing about it is that the Second Amendment necessary for a free people. And that's a necessity when we feel that our government's no longer working for us. And a perfect kind of example of that was with the COVID relief a few months ago, not the one now, that showed all of this money going to all these foreign countries and very little of that money coming here. So is that really the government working for us? And it's getting to the point where I think a lot of people are fed up. But at the same time, though, man, the masks prove that people don't necessarily want to go against the grain. They want to go with it. So we allow them to do it, you know? I mean,
we're not uncaring. We're not uncaring people.
Yeah, people don't have that courage anymore. I mean, there are people that have it. And those people's voices need to get louder, and there needs to be more people's voices that follow it. I mean, the more voices that we have educated that talk against it, talking, it used to be the pen was mightier than the sword. Our opinions, our mouths, our platforms are louder than any gun and more powerful than any gun. The problem is now our platforms are becoming censored by big tech because they're in it together, and they're in it with one way, and that should really terrify people,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I like what you brought up about that last stimulus package that they did, because the thing is that's one of the first times that most of America woke up and saw where our tax money goes, what they take our tax money for. Because the thing is that wasn't just a stimulus package. That was our national yearly budget that they were voting on. That's what we do every freaking year. That wasn't just done because of a stimulus for one specific reason. They have to sit down every single year and come up with where our spending is going to go. Well, our spending is supposed to be for America. Why are we bailing out all these other countries? Why are we funneling all this other money into all these other countries? It's simple. That's all politics.
The main organization that I volunteer for is St. Jude.
That's the whole process of,
my name is Igor. I serve in the United States Army.
We need this to help out with us in this country, and if you give us this money, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure and get some of that back to you all, and you're just going to put that in your pockets. People finally got a chance to pay attention to how it is that our government really spends our tax money because of that stimulus happening at the same time as our national budget. It should have been the most eye-opening thing to all Americans.
And and I've talked to Democrats, I talked to liberals about that, and every daggone one of them, man, ended up saying the same daggone thing. They acknowledged it existed, but they didn't really want to talk about it. And I think the main reason why they didn't want to talk about it was because they're parties for raising our income taxes. So, how can you be for raising income taxes, man, when at the end of the day, our income taxes are specifically going to, I pulled it up, right? You were talking, I pulled it up. I'm kind of crafty sometimes, usually I'm not. And if you look, right there it is, right? So not the current one. I want to reiterate, it's not the current stimulus package we're talking about. It's the last one that we're talking about. And where was the package is all part of the larger 2.3 trillion catch, right? And here's where it goes. 170 million to Vietnam, in part to remediate dioxins. Whatever the fuck that is.
What's a dioxin?
I can Google it. All right. I'm just going to take their word for it on this. You guys can Google. Yep. Let me know. Let me know what a remediate a dioxin is.
Thank God we are finally remediating dioxins.
So then we're going to 198 million to Bangladesh, in part to support Burmese refugees and democracy programs. All right, I'm not going to talk about it. Keep going. 130 million to Nepal for development and democracy programs. Okay, 25 million to Pakistan in part for gender programs. What the fuck? I mean, maybe,
what's a
I don't know either, dude. You got a penis, you're dude. You got the other thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
The
Yeah,
vagina,
exactly.
you're a
Exactly.
lady.
I'm not sure what gender I am. Look down.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. 15 million to Sri Lanka to refurbish an high endurance cutter, which is a type of patrol boat. Okay. 506 million to Belize, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Panama to address key factors that contribute to the migration of accompanied undocumented minors to the United States. 453 million to assistance in Ukraine. Okay.
Oh, we know what's in Ukraine. That would be Hunter Biden and Nancy Pelosi's son.
And a lot of prostitutes and cocaine. And natural gas, right?
Yes, I saw some of those videos.
Yeah. I think a lot of people did, although the media didn't really show them in October, but they started talking about it in January, right? 33 million to Venezuela for democracy programs. And also, family members of illegal aliens in the United States are eligible to receive up to $1,800 in stimulus money. And that was the last bill that a lot of that money went to that wasn't us. And that's our money. That is from us making money and spending money. That's where that money comes from. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of sad that we can't focus on what's best for you and your family, me and my family and others that may watch this and their families. We go to spending it on Pakistan for gender programs. Like, okay, What do you think of gender programs, Brian?
I'm not really sure what a gender program is. I mean, holy crap. I know there's some really messed up programs that you can download on the internet, so I don't know if that's what they're talking about. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, none of it does. Absolutely none of it.
It does.
And the thing is this wasn't just about a stimulus. This is what our government is doing with our tax money on a yearly basis. They're coming up with this kind of crap every single year.
And then they say our deficit is out of control. We're spending more than we're taking in. And it's really, and it never comes down to taxes. People need to understand this. It never comes down to taxes. It comes down to what they do with your money and my money.
Oh, absolutely.
And also, never underestimate this. So then you're like, well, the Trump was a trickle down policy. He lowered the capital. He lowered the corporate tax rate. You're right. He lowered the capital tax rate from 35% to 21%. Who pays the corporate tax rate? Not Apple. Apple pays not even 1%. They keep their income in Ireland, okay? You can Google that. I'll pull it up in a minute. The people that pay that corporate tax rate is your local businesses, is your local smaller businesses. It isn't the top businesses like Verizon that keeps their money overseas. So it has nothing to do with the rates. Only people that pay the rates are people like me, you, Brian, not your top. And this is absolutely the truth. So anytime they're talking about raising taxes, that's not the answer. Let's ask them what they do with our money. And I mean, I'm sure that you've looked into sometimes what they've used our tax dollars for, Brian. I mean, what is some of the things that they use our tax dollars for other than some of the things that I've pulled up?
It's not us. That's just it. Most of it doesn't even go to America. Here's the thing, though. I want you to pull that screen back up again for just a second, because it's eating me alive what that one thing is. Remediate dioxins. I've got to look this up. Real quick. All right.
It's not dioxins. It's dioxins. Remediate dioxins.
Remediate dioxins. What is this doing?
And it's $170 million to Vietnam.
Let's see. Remediation technologies available for reducing dioxins formation and emission from the important sources such as flue gas. That's spelled FLUE. So flue gas. I'm assuming that's the gases that come out of smokestacks.
I have no idea, and I haven't Googled it. I'm leaving my
me
Google
either.
up for you to kind of look at it. I don't know what the hell it is. I need to
Here's
research it. I know it's $170 million of our money.
Here's
People
the other
that
thing.
get up and work. It's their money.
Okay. I mean, I know the word flu, what a flue is. You know, a flue has something to do with a chimney. Okay. Here's the next thing. Fly ash. Fly. Okay. As in buzzing insect, ash. Fly ash. So is that ashes that fly into the air? Is that when flies get kind of, maybe an ashy skin type of thing going on, and so we're trying to help take care of the flies all around these countries, but then and soil. I'm assuming this must have something to do with plants, chemical plants, stuff like that. But the thing is seriously, it's same shit. This is lobbyist crap.
Well, a lot of the
crap.
money, well, the thing is a lot of it here. Okay, I want you to pay attention to this. So this here, 198 million, and it's for democracy programs.
Oh, they love using democracy.
130 million to Nepal, democracy. Okay.
Yep.
Programs. 33 million to Venezuela, democracy programs. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of money for democracy programs. What is democracy programs? Are we trying to tell other people how to live like we did in Iraq that didn't fucking work? I don't know. But I'm going to say
pretty much.
But once again, the thing is, man, is that's our money that needs to go to people here, especially those that are struggling right now. And that's what people need to realize.
Yep, that came out of your paycheck, my paycheck, every American's paycheck, and most of us usually think that it's to help take care of America.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm going to interrupt right now, guys. I'm going to go back to our intro card for a minute and play our song that we're going to exit out with. We've been going on for about 42 minutes now, and this has just been a test. It's the first time we've done this. So, hey, thanks for tuning in. Here soon we're going to be doing this quite a bit to more of you guys that can actually see this and
don't forget to help support remediation technologies for reducing dioxins. That is so important.
Exactly.
We don't know what the hell it is.
Hold on.
But it's so important.
I'm going to show you guys. I didn't mean to pull that one up, but I'm going to pull it up again just for everybody to be able to see here. I'm going to highlight it. I want somebody. I haven't done the research. I could do my own research. I'm pretty good at that. I usually do. But I want somebody to, we're giving Vietnam $170 million to remediate dioxins. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah, somebody tell us what the hell they're doing in Vietnam.
Yeah, with remediating dioxins. Look it up, check it out. It's a lot of our money that we're working for. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching this stuff. And again, I hope everything turns out really good for you guys. Peace out. Later.
Take it easy.
I can't be canceled, there's no way that you can stop me. I'm fully independent, there's no label who can drop me. Y'all been starting rumors, let me help you with some. Yeah.
He's a racist, he's a sexist, he's in love with Donald Trump.
Y'all can't cancel me, my life is scandal free. There ain't no sponsors taking losses cause the brand is me. My hands are clean, my family and my fans agree. Y'all can't cancel me for facts because you're mad and weak. Go ahead and tell the world I'm ugly and racist. I braid my hair and I don't care about cultural